All right. Hello, everyone. Nytmare here, and this is Whale FM's Fireside Chat with Artists. In this show, we talk about everything and anything art and crypto and the NFT scene with designers and creators alike, otherwise known as non fungible tokens. My guest today is Jon Noorlander, a powerhouse Swedish 3D visual effects artist whose award winning work has been featured by Hollywood and Fortune 100 companies alike. Working from the art epicenter of New York City, Jon brings his flawless animations and bold aesthetics to the masses. Jon, thank you so much for coming on and speaking with the whale community today.
Thank you, and thank you for the introduction. Sounds like I'm very important.
Yeah, and just for a little bit of context, because that was a lot of superlatives there.
Yeah.
Really, first of all, let me get the audience to get an idea of what we're talking about. Jon's designed and directed visual effects works from everybody from Apple, the NFL, NASCAR, Bud Light, Hollywood movies like Deadpool, 300 TV shows. I mean, literally his artwork is hanging in the corporate headquarters of Adobe itself. So we're not joking here when we say a powerhouse.
Yeah, I've been in the business for quite some time, and had the fortune enough to have been featured around the world a bit, and so.
I mean, in doing my due diligence for this interview, I was just amazed. You really have a fascinating kind of background. I'd love to hear you walk us through your journey in art and the course that brought you all the way from Sweden to New York City now.
Yeah. So the things I've been in art my whole life, really. I come from a quite artistic family. Like my mom is a painter and my dad is an architect. And I feel like I'm kind of merged the two worlds together since, back in we're talking early mid 90s, I was using my dad's, CAD software to make 3D buildings and stuff. So that's where my interest of 3D kind of started. And I still remember the very first thing that brought me into being like a 3D artist. And I was like scrolling through magazines and stuff and found this picture of a 3D landscape that someone created in 3D Studio Max at the time. And I was just fascinated by the thing that you can create your own world from your imagination completely, right? And then create from there. So that was just, when I was like a young teenager. But ever since I knew I wanted to do something like that. And then ended up, Sweden was actually quite early on. I started, university in early 2000. And they actually have a computer graphics course in Sweden. So I studied computer graphics at the university level in Sweden for 4 years. And then directly after that, I moved to London from Sweden and started working multiple design shops. And I think the biggest one I worked there was the early days of Man vs. Machine, which I was there helping starting that place up when it was just like the owners and me. Start doing that was when motion graphics had no 3D in it, like those days. And then I came on as a 3D artist to help bring motion graphics and that style of graphics that you see in interstitials for TV shows and stuff. They were usually before that, they were always 99% done in After Effects. So I brought in to bring in design into full on 3D, and then did that spent good time, 8 years in London, I think. And then I moved to LA and actually joined Method Studios, which is this big VFX powerhouse. And I'm still there today, but I've since moved to New York City, and I'm running the design department for Method Studios, as well as doing, my crypto art on the side. So as you see here at the stream, you can see that's more my commercial works, a lot of it, and mixed. You can see definitely some other private art pieces as well. This was the first minted one from on Super Rare, my first 6 months ago, which feels like ages now. But I've only been doing crypto art for 6 months, so I still feel quite new to the game. But I was speaking to someone yesterday, and it's actually, if you've been in crypto art for 6 months, you're actually a granddad by now. So I guess I'm not that new anymore.
Yeah. It definitely moves at a different pace.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's really interesting because we run into a lot of people that aren't traditionally trained, didn't go to school for it and just pick stuff up. And
Yeah.
you mentioned you came from a family of art. I think I read that your mother was a painter and your father an architect, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of interest combined with the classical training in school and then your
Yeah.
experience kind of led you here. I
Yeah.
found it particularly interesting that you spent, I don't know how long you were there, maybe just an internship or a summer, but you were with the video game developer Coldwood. Is that right?
Yes. That was I spent while I was still at university. I worked for this video game company, and I spent a few summers. I worked full time, and other ones just helped out. And that was
So,
like when it was when it was extremely hard to make video games, like graphics. So
right. Well, the irony I found is that, their most popular game they're known for is Unravel.
yeah,
And looking at your work, I know that was long before that was published, right? But
yeah,
for some reason, the irony that it kind of tied together in my
yeah. It
head.
feels like I worked on a video game that called Ski Racer back in 2005. I think
Right.
I'm not sure if it came to America, but it was big in I think Switzerland or Austria or something. I think there was one country that Hermann Mayer. I'm not sure that skier what country it's from. Maybe Germany. It was huge there.
Cool.
It was a nice little stint in video game. But then since I haven't really been involved in video games until
Right.
recently. I'm starting not involved in video games, but I picked up and worked much more in Unreal Engine, which like a video game engine
Yes.
to do my graphics. And I think you maybe have like my latest piece I minted on the Super is actually made. Yeah, this one. This is my first one that is made in Unreal Engine, which I'm not sure how many like techie geeks there are in here, but like I'm very impressed by the quality I could get out from the engine itself to render like art. It's not real time, but it's a lot closer to real time than more conventional renderers that you're using like GPU, like Redshift or Octane, which still takes hours to get done. This one was like we're talking seconds per frame to get it done and get it, into a pretty good state. So I'm technically very, very happy about this piece in itself. And
Yeah, and some developers complain about some of the nuances of the Unreal Engine. So the fact that you're using it for art is pretty.
I think it's like that's where I want to use it. I'm not like I do like this will be fully real time. And it can a version of this already running real time, but it's not as crisp and as nice. But I'm really surprised I can use this for production. And I'm already using this for commercial production as well. For bigger commercial projects we're doing at the moment. Since I think this is the future of any 3D visualizations and stuff. It's like running it in an engine like this. It's just so fast.
Yeah, as an aside, as an old gamer, I appreciate the homage to Mortal Kombat here.
You can see it.
So I did want to get into your crypto art, but you have such an interesting background. I had a few more questions, just kind of the genesis of your style and stuff. And you talk about the progression from your being classically trained and then going through these different commercial career pathing here. How would you characterize how your art has evolved over time and how that took shape? Because you have a very vibrant aesthetic and people give you accolades for the way you put texture and motion, and it's very distinct.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure. I didn't like plan out what my style would be. It's like it's just a natural progression of me. Like, I see myself as a very technical artist. Since I'm an artist, but like I see it like in what I enjoy is like 50-50. I really enjoy to overcome technical difficulties in like 3D software and different solutions and kind of push the boundaries of what you can do with the new tools that we constantly get. So like what you see here, like it's an art piece, yes, but it's also quite technically advanced how to get this to work. We're talking rigid body and simulation with Veldum soft body simulation and get them all to work together. And we're having this one got hand tracking, like this is a motion capture rig connected here as well. It's me acting out the hands, like that's captured. So it's a lot of technical things that goes into my piece, but then I really enjoy that I could take my technical interest and I'll also use that in my art, right? So I'm like finding this like my perfect match of technically very kind of advanced things, and then graphically obviously equally as, you know, impressive. So I think that's my style and what I like doing on my art pieces. So like you can see all of them, you know, like 99% stuff is animation, you know.
Right. Go ahead.
No, so I think that's the style, and I feel like lately, obviously, I think it's the turning point for me using motion capture was definitely in 2016 when we made the Major Lazer Light It Up music video. That definitely, you know, caught fire online. Yeah, you can see it here. It's like, what is that, Larry? 440 million views now. So
yeah, just a little bit viral.
Yeah, so it's been around, and you know, it's still every week we get asked to do another motion capture job, you know, from using this, you know. So this was definitely a big turning point for, and I think it's a big turning point for everyone in the motion graphics scene to use motion capture data to visualize art, you know. So this was actually, it wasn't meant to be a Major Lazer video first. We did this it was an AICP, it's like an industry event in New York City. It's like this big party at MoMA and all the advertising people are there. And this was the kind of video for that. And then we actually put the Major Lazer track on it. And, you know, like as you do with anything, you put it online, right? And then literally a few seconds after we posted it, you know, we had 100,000 views. And I still remember the day, like I was in LA at the time with my boss, and we were going to a meeting with Google or Apple or something, and we get a call from Major Lazer's label, and it's like, oh, they're gonna ask us to take this down now, right? Since we just put that music on, right? Like like it was just like as a reel, you know, you're selecting a track you like, but then they really, you know, enjoyed it as much as everyone else and asked if they could use it as their kind of Light It Up remix music video. And, you know, we obviously said yes. And ever since, you know, so, you know, Method Studios and like is definitely known for this as a look now. And, you know, I've been directing numerous commercial after it with motion capture in mind and, you know, dancing. So I've been working with choreographers and stuff for, a lot of them. But it's a lot of fun and I really enjoy it. And I feel like dance and art always belong together, right? And I feel like everyone can appreciate this, you know, even if you're not liking weird 3D stuff, you can enjoy the dance.
Yeah, and people are changing texture mid-dance moves and deconstructing and reconstructing. It's just amazing, quite honestly. I can see why that would have really blown up.
Yeah, it's a big inspiration pot, this one, and for just setups and stuff to use, you know.
Right. And speaking of going viral, I took a look at your TikTok, and you're essentially an influencer at this point. You get millions of views on your TikTok. So I have to tell you guys, I'm a big pineapple pizza guy. So I had to show you. I really appreciated this one.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, controversy with the pizza, I think, huh?
I don't think so. I think it's the controversy. People don't like it. So, you know, this is kind of, I need to know off the cuff now. Are you a pineapple pizza guy? You're on the spot.
I am. You have to be, like, I grew up in Sweden and, you know, it's a very big thing to have pineapple on pizza. And we even go further. We have a pizza in Sweden that you put bananas and curry flavor on at the same pizza, which is even more out there. But it's, you know, it's good. It's good.
I'd be willing to try that for sure. So what are your thoughts on, you know, the viral spread and your reach on TikTok? It just kind of talks to.
Yeah, it's fun, you know. I think it's definitely a completely different audience that like I feel like it's the younger brother of Instagram, right? And I feel like that's the age group as well. You know, like if Instagram is TikTok is definitely the youngest, and then Instagram, and then Twitter, that's in that order, I feel. But I feel like it's a great output, you know, to just spread your art, right? It's like to me, it acts like a shopping window, right? I'll just, everyone can enjoy it. And then, I do I get outreach quite often now, like people want to collaborate and doing like sponsored posts on TikTok since they've seen some of them, since, some of this exploding head have, I think the one with the bananas have like, I think 30 million views or something on TikTok. So it's like got up quite quickly, like it's...
Yeah. And I was looking at these and I forgot that I was doing, prep for an interview and just got caught up. And I had to ask you, your curation of music here is pretty interesting. Are you actually a hip hop fan, or you just have an ear for it? Because some of the songs I wouldn't expect you to have chosen.
No, the thing is, I'm this, to be honest, I'm picking stuff that is quite popular on TikTok, right? Since I think it's all like anything socially, you have to play the game, right? It's not,
Right.
You have to calculate a little bit, like it's, the visual is one thing, but you have to put the right track on. And,
Right.
I don't mind hip hop, but this is like all music you select within TikTok, right? You have these options, but then I'm trying my best to pick something that kind of matches the visuals. So.
Right. Well, you definitely did a good job. I was impressed. I had to ask.
Thank you.
And we touched on your style a little bit, and I wanted to just ask you. I saw a video clip of you talking about your philosophy. Keeping the fun in the business and kind of how you like to incorporate that and keep that at the forefront.
Yeah.
With, your visuals. Can you just touch on that a little bit for us?
Yeah, I'm a big, you gotta have fun, right? And I'm definitely not the one that take myself too seriously. I think that comes across my art as well. It's like, I want to put the smile on people's faces when they see it. Maybe a slight disgust, but still a smile on some of these, right? Some are quite absurd, but I think it's like strangely satisfying. I think it's like my aim is, with a lot of these things, like it's definitely eye candy, and it's like pop art. And to me, if you don't have fun doing it, like what's the point, right? I think, and at least that's how I feel, right? I feel like you should, like, I thoroughly enjoy what I'm doing, and I think that hopefully comes across in my art as well, so I think that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, like I especially liked on your website where you highlight all of your work, and if you go to the info page, it just says Creative Swedish, and that's your contact. So the simplicity of that and the emphasis on the vibrant work, kind of, it all is pretty cohesive.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of let the work speak versus like a write up of my work. Right. I feel like it's I think all artwork obviously need to have a backstory and stuff, right? But I do think, art comes first in my case, especially since I'm, Swedish and English is not my first language, and I don't like writing too much. And if anyone knows, the Swedes, we are quite, we're few-worded people, right?
Well, your art speaks volumes, so you're good there, I'm sure. So you talked about your technical prowess, and obviously, you've had interest in this for a long time. There's a lot of that goes behind all of this, like you mentioned, between motion capture and a lot of different tool sets that you're using. How long does it take you to find kind of the textures you're going to work through, and your sources for inspiration? What's that process like?
The thing is, in my like a piece like this that's playing here, right? It was like they wanted a little cyberpunk feel to it. That was the ask for. Actually, this was a collaboration with Cargo. They did some kind of NFT drop, like reward system thing. So I've made one for them, and it's a lot of kind of, what if this could look cool, right? And sometimes it goes very fast. Like I could create like sometimes it doesn't have to take that long time, but I feel like that comes because I've been working for ages. You don't create anything like, maybe I can do it in like a day, something, right? But that's because I've been in the business for 20 years, right? So it's not fast if you consider the amount of time I spent learning all the things I know, right? So time is very, like, it's hard to put a time on it, like how long certain things take, since sometimes it goes really fast. Sometimes it's like iteration after iteration, right? You do something, you don't really like it, and like for this one I played a lot with the lighting, to get like what is the right amount of the flicker and how that, and then so yeah, it's hard to know exact time, but yeah, that's an inspiration. I feel like I get inspired by everything I see every day. Like you're scrolling down Twitter, your Instagram or TikTok, you see things you enjoy and you take that in more. I'm not much of like, when I do a job, I don't save up, a folder of references and stuff. I think it's much more, I'll take in as I go, and then, I'll see what comes out the other side,
Right, and I would agree. Definitely seeing other art, other people's artwork, and things that get you excited, get the creative juices flowing.
And it's for me, it's a lot as well. You're seeing how like not the art pieces, but the techniques they've been using, or like recreate a certain things. Like I think that's a
right.
So this is let's talk a little bit. This is actually a piece when I started learning Houdini. This is like the first week of me playing with that system and kind of figuring out what to do and how to create with it. And I made these sculptures or particles that I'm used like aerial photography to feed in for using the color, but also the motion and the scale of particle textures and stuff. And this one had a very fun story what they evolved to. So this was me posting. This is probably not the first post, but I started posting these things on Instagram. I'd done numerous of these. Like I think in total, this first set of sculptures was 21 of them, and they got some traction online. And like a few people retweeted, and Fubi Studios posted about it. And out of the blue, I got like an email from a curator in Mexico City, and he actually ended up in a museum in Guadalajara in Mexico for a summer. I'm not sure exactly when this was. This was maybe in 2016 or 17, something like that. So he ended up in a museum there, and then also Adobe contacted me, and they really liked the visual, and they wanted to do something similar for their new. They were redoing their headquarters in San Fran, and then they wanted a visual piece to fit into their lobby, the new lobby area. I think I have some pictures on my website. The Adobe things. You can.
That's the logo remix.
Yeah, the logo remix, right? So that if you go up, I think it's up a little bit, maybe. Yeah, this one. So they wanted like, all right, can we do something with Adobe and incorporate the logo somehow? And then so yeah, why not? So I made this massive wallpaper, and it was like. I'm not sure, I don't have a picture here, but it's picture online. You can see that it was basically a wall that wrapped around a corner and was like 2 stories high wall. So this render was, I think, is 80K render. So it's like extremely high res, right? And it took days and days and days to render. And I rendered each little cube, like I have to split it up to render it, right? So if you imagine like the corner of the A, in the middle there, in the very top, that is just a little red. That's the kind of HD resolution frame. So it was tiled up. So it was like 1,400 tiles, I think, in total to make this image. So it was, since it needed to hold up, for people to walk up to this wall, like extremely close up. So if you scroll down a little bit, you can see, that's all from the same image, the same print, right? So this is just close-ups of that render. So when you walk up, you can see the actual building blocks, and you can see this. So it was a super fun job, and I made an animation for them as well that was playing on this large screen at the lobby. I'm not sure if it's still there. I might have to go visit when I'm in San Francisco next time. See if they painted over it, or if the wall is still there. I hope the wall is still there.
Yeah, that's incredible. The micro level of detail to get to there.
But it's I think that's the power of, social media and internet, right? Like what this all started with me wanting to learn Houdini. And I like I said before, early on in the call, right? Like using time when I want to learn new technique, I'm using it to create art, right? So I have a kind of end goal for what I'm learning. And, post the outputs, and then you can see it snowball and roll away, and then a lot of things comes from it. So I'm actually doing it's a kind of sculpture 2. So I'm doing a new drop on Nifty Gateway on February 22nd, and it will be a new set of sculptures that I'll be releasing a teaser of it today, so you can see on Twitter, and I'll post it here as well. You can see it, but I'm quite excited about it. I've been working quite a few months on it, and it's a big drop for me. So
okay, so teaser today. We got the exclusive scoop.
Yeah, it's coming out today, like a little preview visual from it. So yeah, I'm super excited.
And it's also a sculpture similar in vein to this.
Yes, it's like this one, but bring it into the crypto world. That's what so yeah, it's a continuation of it.
Nice. I've seen you mention a few times in these, not only here but other places. No AI, just good old brute force. So this is just you, kind of pushing the tool. And
this is like it's a lot of that's just a little fun tongue-in-cheek thing, right? Since a lot of people use AI for like whatever, but I could easily say that this would be AI and people will buy it, right? That it would be AI, but it's not. It's just me. It's algorithmic though, so it's me doing algorithms and stuff and controlling it. I don't hand draw anything of this. I'm creating this by turbulence fields and noise fields and layer them up. So it's like a layer system to create these kind of movements. So they look this, and there's actually it's not a simulated piece. It's just like a mathematical pushing it around. So there's no simulation involved. It's just, this can go on for infinity, and just as long as you render, you don't need to simulate anything.
Right. And this will be on Nifty. And I was taking a look at your, most recent drop in December. And it brings me to the question, you talked about you always being technically inclined and having, keen interest in the technical aspects of the tools and how you can use art. Is that what led you into crypto itself? Were you involved with cryptocurrency before?
No, not at all. I obviously been following, Bitcoin and looking at price charts now and then and thinking, oh, this is crazy, right? But it's all started literally 6 months ago, right? Like Nifty and Tommy from Nifty reached out to me with an email and said, are you up for doing a drop on a Nifty Gateway? And I was like, what is that? And I had no idea what it even was. So he did a very good way to explaining NFTs to me. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So people will buy it. And I was first the same one like everyone else. Like, so you still, yes, everyone can just look at it, but yes, one person can actually buy it, own it. And then, the whole copy paste discussion came up and all that. But, I'm very happy I accepted the invitation, since, I do get a fair amount of email of people asking to do certain, like do things. And, I can't follow up on everything, right? But this caught my interest, so I'm like, crypto art, that sounds fun. And I'm super happy. So I'm forever grateful they did reach out, since I think that otherwise I probably would have heard of it now anyway, since I think it's 6 months ago, I think no one in the motion graphics and design world knew about this as much, like it's definitely, but now lately a lot of my colleagues and peers and stuff are now in this space, right? Like I recognize a lot of my people I follow on Instagram is now also crypto, we're doing crypto art. So it's obviously exploded of who's actually involved in it. So I felt like I was probably a step ahead of the big wave that came in of new artists. So
right, first mover advantage.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a little head start. But yeah, it's a super fun space to be in, and it's very exciting. It made me spend more time creating art, on the side, for sure,
Right. And you're actually, I found you on many platforms so quickly,
Yeah. I do think I don't like I do have I think if I will pick favorites, I feel like I do like Super Rare and Nifty a lot. So I feel like they are maybe the two big, I don't know, well-known ones. But I do have some other thing. I did a very good, quite good drop on Maker's Place, and I probably need to do another drop soon, I feel. So I did this, more little Bitcoin art. I've done a lot of Bitcoin art when I look at it, right? but I do enjoy the visuals. So yeah, I've done, and I even have some rareable. I'm just trying it all out. I don't see no harm at being everywhere at the moment.
No, for sure. But I even saw you on some platforms I wouldn't traditionally, that I hadn't even seen before. So it was cool to see you really branching out and saying, hey, this is what works.
Yeah, it's all about testing, trial and error, right? You see what works, see what sticks, and if it doesn't stick, so be it.
Yeah, definitely.
And on Rarible, I do have my most expensive art piece. I'm still waiting for the right buyer. It's 100 ether.
Oh, here we go.
But the pricing on this one is actually part of the artwork itself, right? So that's why the price point is there. So it's like...
Right. That's why it knows I don't have 100 ether in my MetaMask right now, so it won't load for me.
Yeah.
And actually, I saw you reference this and talking about, asking if Mark Cuban or some other celebrities that, recently have really been talking about NFTs a lot more attention's being, even in mainstream media, put onto the space. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's excellent, and I think that's it's going to be a bit hard. I feel like a lot of people, and I think a lot of early people and a lot of early artists that's in the space maybe will suffer a little bit, since with mainstream comes mainstream's look and feel. What the mainstream people want and what the mainstream people spend money on. Like you have to maybe definitely play the game a little bit how you want to. Or it depends what you want out of it, right? If you want to be like commercial success, you want to live on this art, or you want whatever, I feel like you have to take that into consideration, that if your audience now is a mainstream audience, you maybe not that to change your look feel, but you have to definitely take that into consideration of who's going to be the collectors in the space. And maybe I think it will obviously be niches, which I think that's what's really good with all these different platforms. I think a lot of different platforms will find its own niche. Maybe one platform becomes extremely mainstream and like pop art is the thing that sells and stuff, whatever, and or only the big names and stuff, right? So I think everyone will find its space, but it's definitely going to disrupt the NFT space that we know it as now. And I think it's already started. I feel like if you're looking like 6 months ago, before 6 months ago, it was a certain look and feel, right, in the space of what the crypto art is versus it is now. You can see a change of visuals for sure, right? At least I can. I can see it.
Right.
This is still a little dancing porridge man.
And from a scarcity perspective, there's often discussion on, what's the right model to go for. Should you, try to get a lot of stuff out there? Should you focus on, having some exclusivity?
I think that's up to every artist, what they want to do. Like, fine, if you want to release one piece a year, you go for it. But I'm not much of anyone that preaches what other people should do. Right. I feel like, you do you, right? Like, what's anyone to tell you what to do, right? And, the scarcity thing, like, it's all relative, right? Like, scarcity in what? If you've been in this game, let's say you're an artist, like 80-year-old artist, right? You've done thousands of work and you drop that all at the same time, it may look like that's a massive amount of work. But if you think about the span when it was created, then it's scarce. So it's like, it's always, it's hard to judge, right?
Right.
And I like, yeah, I'm all for both options. I do like having things that only one out of one, right? Since I feel, it adds to the price and stuff. But then equally, I do love editions as well. Since I feel like editions to me, if it's just the same artwork, right, it's just partial ownership, right? It's like if people go together and buy an artwork. That's basically what an edition is for me. Since it's the same, you basically get a piece of the artwork. If you can't afford to spend on one-on-one, like there's a lot. The price points artworks, going up and up and up, right? And it's become, not everyone can afford, a one-on-one, right? So then I think editions is a perfect things for everyone to be involved in this and play the game,
Right.
Why shouldn't it be included? It can't be, since otherwise it become this elitist art art thing that the old art world is, right? When very few people can own art of a great value, which
Right.
I like it shouldn't be, I feel like it should be open for everyone. If someone only have like $10 to spend on an art piece, so be it, then you should be able to find something for that. And then I think that's where Rareable and stuff comes in, but I feel like you can get some really good art there for like a quite good price point. So that's one thing. In all these different platforms will find its own niche where what audience they can bring to the table.
Yeah, and there's obviously pros and cons to it. So not that this is, anything definitive, but personally, I like when I see, a really renowned artist will drop some one of one, some very limited edition sets, and then an open edition where they let anyone that wants to participate and show their support and want to take pride in ownership grab something. It's differentiated from the rare pieces, but they can say that they're part of it. And I think it's important, especially as we're onboarding a lot of new people into this ecosystem, to let them take part and not just cater to the elite, because then we'll just be niched and we'll handcuff ourselves as far as
And I think that's with like it's not new. Like we said, the whole one-on-one and like small edition and then an open edition, right? It's exactly how big brands does it anyway, right? Like say if you look at like Ferrari and stuff, or like Lamborghini, like Ferrari, right? They have this triangle, right? The first top of the triangle is the cars. Very few people can afford it. They're extremely expensive. Down you have accessory, and the bottom you have like Ferrari keychains and stuff. Everyone can afford a keychain. It's like the same thing there, right? You can own something Ferrari that is a real Ferrari thing, but it's not maybe the car. That's maybe a few people, but I think it's in the same way. That's how I see the whole editions and stuff. The top of the triangle is the one that will come with a price point and be quite pricey since it's super rare and stuff, right? But then you can have and the bottom of that triangle is the open edition when everyone can join the fun, And I think, like you said, it should be inclusive for everyone, Especially since this is so kind of worldwide now, right? It's like in different part of the world, people have very different budget to spend on things and be involved. But
definitely, and our community is worldwide, and we have people that are artists and collectors, and like you said, run that gamut. It's all relative to what their lifestyle is, but that shouldn't preclude them from participating in art.
No, for sure. And I think that's with anything. Like if they can, let's say someone can buy a piece for like $10 somewhere, right? That's what let's say that's their budget. They can still make $10 back on that maybe in a day or two, right? If they resell it, and then that goes, so that's what the fun thing here, right? Like you don't have to spend $1,000s to make money, right? You can start small and build your way up, right? And I feel like that's why you need to have this entry level things so everyone can participate in it, right?
Right. And now we have things that are other things bringing people into the space. We have traditional collectibles kind of bridging the gap with things like they have a collectible card game, digital card game, NBA Top Shot. They have gaming pieces that you can acquire and then resell on the block space, and people are coming to understand this is all part of the same ecosystem. We have a lot of people in our community that came from gaming, and now they're purchasing NFTs from Coldy, from yourself, and it all came because they got a special or sword, right? So like you said, accessibility is definitely super important.
Yeah,
that made me think of, go ahead.
No, and I really like the whole that aspect of the NFT. It's not only as single art pieces, right? Like it's so many things now that goes on in this space, right? Of collectibles and stuff. So it's super exciting to me. It's like it feels like we're in the Wild West still, right? The gold rush. Everyone tries everything at the moment. Something will stick, some will not. But like people trying, and I think that's the cool thing about this.
Yeah, and there's progressive tech that we haven't even begun to really to see what the limits are of. For example, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with the smart contract to make the art interactive and have elements that change or are reciprocating things that are going on in the environment. Do you have any plans? Are you exploring adding any AR or VR elements to your stuff?
I definitely, I think me entering to do my stuff in Unreal Engine is definitely opening up that whole thing to make this experience, viewable for multiple angles, and you can actually be inside it. So yeah, it's definitely caught my interest, and I feel like now with Unreal Engine, actually you can produce good stuff. I feel like it caught my interest even more, since coming from a 3D world, like when I go into these meta worlds and crypto voxels, I mean, it's like me seeing those blocks and stuff just brings me back to the struggles I had in 2005 when I was building video games, right? I feel like I want to experience art in a nice place and good looking place, and I think what's his name, Fakrender, did that with his drop on Nifty, right? Like he made a world in Unreal that you can go and enjoy the artwork, and I feel like that's why I'm getting really excited, since I want to enjoy a good looking artwork in a good looking location. And I feel like that's why real museums now, like if in a modern museum somewhere, usually the architecture is really nice and pleasing, and it brings to the experience, right? So I feel like that's where I hope to see stuff really progress fast, how you experience it in the VR worlds, since I feel like I know, real-time VR world has its limitations of how the graphic can be, since you need to be real-time and stuff, but that will accelerate really fast. And I feel like we're not far away from making it look really good. I feel like if you look at Fortnite and those multiplayer games, they're looking good, and I feel like there's nothing stopping us from making those kind of worlds or experiences, like say you do an exhibition in a museum and you made this custom little video game thing that you go and play, and then that's how you experience the art, for the first time. So I think that's why I want to definitely bring my art as well, so make it that work inside, an engine, a real-time engine that you can enjoy it, in a space. So
Right. Yeah, and I actually have an order in for my Oculus, so hopefully,
yeah. I need to get one as well. They do look fun, right?
It's funny. My 7-year-old is the one pushing me for it, so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I was playing Minecraft today with my kid. He's also 7, and we're trying to figure out that it's complex.
It is. And there's other elements with the smart contract people are doing that blow my mind. It's amazing. I saw a piece that responds to the weather. So depending where the location is, that it's tied to, if the weather drops below a certain temperature, the aesthetic, the background will change to reflect that. So it'll look snowy and like it's a winter scene. And when it's summer, the piece will show, that as well.
That I'm very excited about, since I work for, and I think Async they're doing that whole thing, right? The whole interactive, like the whole changing thing. And I want to bring that to my art, but since my art is still very much in video land and it's animation, so I want to make that work in animation land. And I feel like with Unreal and stuff, I think that could make it possible, like you said, the change of weather and day of time, whatever you look at it. And maybe it's like where you look at it, like let's say you in America at night, it's a night scene, but if you're in daytime, Europe is a daytime scene, right? So I feel like that will be very cool. So it's connected to where the viewer is of the art, right? So it's really, it will resonate with them, which is really very, very exciting.
Right, yeah. I've seen where faces age depending on the number of times it's been resold. All kinds of crazy stuff. I can't even...
That's cool.
Especially when we start thinking about the interconnectability with other media, right? Because now there's combined media NFTs dropping music, tying to a physical piece. Like my brain is, I get smoke coming out of my ears thinking about it.
It's overwhelming, right? It's so many avenues this can lead, and I feel like as an artist, you could probably get stretched too thin if you try to engage in everything that is out there, since it's just so much, right? So I think you should probably pick and choose wisely what you want to kind of focus on. I'm not saying you should try, like sure thing, you should try and do test runs of everything, right? But like I think in the long run game, like find your niche, like what you enjoy the most and spend time on that. Since end of the day, you have to put effort in for anything you do, right? So
Right. Well, I'm sure everyone that's watching this now will have to run if you put out a VR project. It would be best in class. And speaking of multimedia, you've done a couple of collaborations. I see that you have one in the works with Space Yacht.
Yes,
with their
that's going to
music.
be mental. I'm looking forward to that one. It's they made some really dope music, and yeah, I'm making the visuals for it. So we yet to decide where we'll be releasing it, but
Okay.
it's going to be it's a fun one. It's I designed up the worlds for it, the visuals, but I just yet to make it animated. But yeah.
Okay. And have you done a few any other collabs with other artists in the NFT space, or have any other ones in the works?
I have others in the works, but I haven't released one yet. So I think Space Yacht will be the first. That's the first one that I do, a collaboration with a music artist. But I do have also something in the works. I've been early talks. I can't say who and when, but it's like with other visual artists, which I'm very excited about to see how that goes. Since I never really done that on my artworks before. I done it, obviously on my commercial work, like that you always collaborate with like hundreds of people, right? But I feel like, this will be the first time on my art side. So very excited about it. But it will come out this year, and it will be, it's a few in the works. So it's going to be exciting.
Very cool. Well, we got one scoop today, right, on the preview coming out later for the Nifty drop. So maybe you'll have to come back later this year and talk to us about this collab.
Yeah, for sure.
And so speaking of different projects, what would you say if you had to list, obviously it's not definitive, but what are some of your favorite projects you've worked on, both in your commercial work and the NFTs that you've done so far?
I think the NFTs, I have to say my Fiat versus Bitcoin series. That is like an ongoing series, since I feel like I've done so many of them. I really enjoy doing them. And, I do, it's subtle like hints where I try to have a little mini stories to tell on each of them, right? And it's much of like visualize, the impact of Bitcoin, and crypto, and then, but how do I visualize that in a pleasing way, and still have some comedy into it. But I do like this series a lot, and I feel like it's been very successful as well with the audience, so
Right.
So that, and then for commercial, I think I have to say, obviously, Major Lazer was a massive one since it changed, a lot. It pivoted, what we do as a company and stuff quite a bit. So it's definitely been a big one. But I've done some other one, like one that I really enjoy actually was and I think I enjoyed the whole experience of it, since I did animation for a Japanese clothing brand, like called Duclasse. I think it's up there. It's one of those. That one.
This one?
The one. Yeah, that one. I did two of them. This is the latest one. You can click on that little one. That one too.
Is this the one you wanted to see?
Yeah. If you play this one, it was so much fun. This is basically, I flew to Tokyo to shoot the models. So I had this amazing time in Tokyo, and then went back and did a motion capture in New York with these really talented dancers. And I worked with a really good choreographer. Like, she's doing all the choreographer, for world-class musicians and stuff for music videos. So she got involved in this one, and we made this really fun job. I think and they came back. So I've been twice in Japan now to shoot for this. The live action part of it. So. And it's the same here. If you're trying to push, the boundaries of what you can do with these kind of characters, and so this is quite complex. How we simulate this is got a fur simulation. We have like this puffy dresses thing, and it's a lot of fun. It's one of those things, right? Like, if you look at this clothing brand, it's like it may be not the hippest clothing brand. It's like it's a kind of Uniqlo style, but for maybe a slightly older client base. But they were very up for doing something quite surreal, which I'm, all creds to them, right? Since this was playing on billboards in Tokyo and stuff for a clothing brand, and it's quite, you don't see that very often, right? And especially not with that type of clothing brand. So I think that's one of my favorites. But I think that's also the whole experience of this job was like so much fun, and the client was the nicest people on the earth, so.
Very cool. How about any other up and coming projects you wanted to post our community on so they stay on the watch for?
I do work on a really good one. It's not really announced yet, but it's like a quite famous singer that we're doing a fashion film for, and it's in Unreal Engine. So we're still months away from releasing it, but it's a big one, and it's like hopefully it's going to turn out great. But it's like first time I'm doing a job that is fully in engine as the end piece. So it'll be a 10-minute fashion film in Unreal Engine.
Very cool.
I'm very excited for it to come out.
And I assume since it's not announced yet and the artist is tied to it, we'll have to keep our ears open for that, right?
Yes, I'll make sure I post for it. Once it's out, once the teaser is out, I'll make sure I post it everywhere.
Very cool. We also have a lot of artists within our communities as well as collectors. What advice would you give to any new artists coming into this space, and how would you recommend them to work to stand out within the crypto art scene?
I think don't get too influenced and try to copy. If you see a certain style that you say, oh, this sells really well and I can do that, let's just do the same thing. That just become like, that will come across as a cheap knockoff of someone else more well-known, even if it's maybe, it could even be better executed, but if you're not the one that invented the style or invented the look for it, it will never really compare to a real deal, and you would never actually, it won't sell as much, So trying to find your own niche, and you won't get success overnight, right? It's rarely happen. And I think the biggest thing on that one too, as people coming into this and see, they see the Beeple thing, right? And it's like, oh, he made millions in like a day, that was instant success. But that dude put down, he's haven't left his computer for 14 years or something, right? To do so, like, nothing comes overnight, right? So you just have to, if you're a young artist that is starting, you have to grind, like, I think it's no other way than just work hard. And you don't necessarily I wouldn't be like scared or not maybe finding your look. You don't have to have a signature look, just like, I don't think any artist knows that when they start. I feel like that will come naturally if that's the thing you evolve with. Like, say, everything started looking a certain ways. That just that should come naturally. It shouldn't be forced. So try things. Like, just don't stop. And just explore and create. And then in the beginning, maybe you can't live off your art, but as long as you have something that you can, pay your bills in, and don't stop creating art. Since if you stay with it, success can come. Not say like it was always put it won't for everyone, right? That's just the harsh reality. Like, you need to have some luck and timing, and I think that's a big thing, right? A lot of people that maybe made it, let's say, and it's easy to say, oh yes, work hard and it'll come. And I think that's partly true, but it's also a lot of bullshit, since you need, like, all those people had also, they were at the right time at the right moment at the right time. What was I saying? That's a big part of a lot of people's success. And if people don't realize that, I think that's, you don't really looking at it in an objective way. You need to have those kind of break moments that will propel your career. And you can't force them. They will come to you. Maybe if they don't, that's that's the harsh truth, right? But if you don't try, they will definitely never come to you. So don't stop trying and keep creating.
Right. And to your point, and to your point, to be able to be in position to get lucky and have those opportunities, you need to be on the grind and putting out work.
Exactly. And I think that's it. No one is started from nothing and someone say, here, now you lucky break from nothing. You've been, they seen something you done, or someone's seen it and it went viral, and it's whatever, like that helps. But it didn't happen because you didn't do anything, right? You just worked your ass off beforehand.
Very cool. And I had, before I get to the audience questions, because I have a list of them here that I've been given, I had to ask you this. What's the story with you driving combat tanks?
Yes, I did actually. I did the military service in Sweden, which is not probably the same as the military service in any other country, but it's it was when I was young, it was mandatory. So if you did get called in, you had to do it. So I spent a year doing a military training in Sweden, and I got assigned to be a combat tank driver. So I spent a full year in North Sweden driving tanks, and I had a lot. I think I don't regret it. I had a lot of fun doing it. It basically was a big playground for me. It's not Sweden. We're not going to war with anyone really. So it's not like imminent danger of actually going to war. So it was like we had a lot of fun. Just a bunch of kids, 18, 19-year-olds that having a lot of fun with combat tanks. So
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have a few questions from the audience here, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
We've gotten a lot of questions about, inspiration, and you had touched on, just things that you see in day-to-day life. But a lot of people are asking you, do you seek it out? Do you keep a notebook? Do you jot things down, or does it just come to you when the time comes?
I probably should do all those things, save stuff and and take notebook, but I just don't. But I think it just comes, I just, everything I look at, I'll get inspired by. I can look at whatever, even if you're outside walking, when I look at the building, I look what could happen in this building, could you add some elements? What can pour out from windows? It's just I think I have probably quite wild imagination, weird and wild imagination, I think. So I think that's where a lot of my things come from. It's just I've said it a lot of times before and talks and stuff. It's a lot of what if moments that I get, and then I kind of use that and explore that and see where I go. But yeah, I don't have a Pinterest thing that I probably should do, but I don't.
Right. Someone asked, do you start projects and find that they don't end up panning out and abandoning them? Or is it more about you taking that failed project and reworking it until it turns into something better?
I think the latter. I think it's just, I do stuff that don't turn out good at all, right? But I try to pivot it, I don't have, since when I start something, I don't have a certain exact idea what it will end up being in the end. I very much go as it comes as I go, I started and it can take massive turns, let's say, some dancing characters, let's see if it's a job here that I did not know what it would turn out. Yeah, maybe this one, Tyrant. You can look at this is like a...
Oh, Tyrant.
Yeah.
This one here?
Yeah, that one. So this was a commercial piece. We had no idea we just knew that we need to have this kind of look and feel, right? And if we started from scratch, the only thing we knew we wanted to play with architecture, but then turn architecture kind of upside down and not really ground it in up and down and just make the sculptures. And that was the only thing, right? We didn't want the conventional architecture. We just want to create something else with it. And that was the only thing we had going for. And then here, we did the amount of research of what pattern and stuff to use. But then after that, it would just, explore and see what looks good. And, I do probably a style frame. I do on commercial jobs. I spend a good portion of the time just doing style frames of just setting up scenes, moving the camera around and find something visually compelling and then take it from there. So if you play this one, you can see what I mean with is this a playable link, by the way?
Not the video.
Oh, it's not? If you move over the video, it's not? It should be. Can you click that again?
I did see it on one of your...
Oh, but you can't click on this image here?
No. This is a still.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I do recall looking at that.
Yeah. Anyway, it was very apt. It turned into be a very, very abstract representation of this this environment, right? And it just came as as we designed it. We didn't know exactly what we want, but you find, here, maybe that's one. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, you can see here you can see like the world we created. It's a quite old piece, so it looks like the quality of how it animated. Maybe this is anime. Is this a video? This last one?
These are all stills.
I should put up the video, shouldn't I? I thought it was a video. Anyway, so yeah, that's just one way, like how I work with any jobs. Like, I don't sketch up this and think this is what these pillars should be. I'll place them and I'll do as I go. My Sketchpad is the 3D software. That's how I work. I don't do a sketch beforehand and then execute. I'll just I'll jump in and on the deep side of the pool and just start creating.
Do you see a synergy between having to be technically savvy as well as creative in order to become an NFT artist, or
I don't think you have to. I think it's like, if it's a spot for anyone, right? I think it's, if you want to do, like, if you look at my type of work, yes, you're gonna have to be very technical, savage to figure out how everything works, to be able to create certain things. Things are still complex, stuff getting easier every day in 3D, for sure. When I started 3D, it was extremely hard to just light the scene. Now you have Octane and Houdini, Octane and Redshift. You basically put the light in and it does it for you. Like, you can say it like this, lighting something like this, it's super easy now. Like, it's not hard, but this 15 years ago was, first of all, impossible to get this look, but it was also really hard, since you have to trace light sources yourself, and anyone that knows video, like, it's like graphic evolved immensely, right? And same in 3D. So all this, you need to you still need to be tech savvy to get it to work.
Right.
But then it's all what your style of art is. If you like a normal painter, then you don't maybe have to. You need to know how to upload and mint the artwork, but other than that, you probably don't.
Yeah, we actually had a question kind of relevant to that evolution of the technology and how it helps. Someone asked, "What is your take on Unreal Engine's new MetaHuman Creator project?"
Oof, I love it. I played around with the test scene, and I think it's just like amazing what you can do. And I can't wait to actually play with it and see how you can take it further. Since it's end of the day, I think it's meant to be. That will be implemented in video games, right? So your playable character will be exactly what you want it to be, and you can probably. I think the version 2 of that will probably be you just taking a photo of yourself, and then somehow the computer makes a realistic 3D version of you with all that animates perfectly, in video games. So it's definitely gonna be a game changer of character designs, and we're probably gonna have a lot less bold characters in crypto art once that becomes out for everyone to use.
Right. And I'll leave you with this one because I think it's a great one. Can contemporary digital art maintain the kind of classic longevity in the way that Renaissance art did, but a long time from now? Does digital art have the same caliber if it's perceived as AI augmentation rather than drawn from scratch, etc.? Basically, what do you feel is the longevity of this medium?
Yeah, I think it's fast. I think since it's faster to create, it's going to be. I think they're not going to live. Some pieces, yes, they will live forever, right? They're going to be iconic pieces, and I think it's hard. You can't say that now, right? But you have to that will come naturally. You can't force it to be, right? But it's also going to be a lot of them going to be left behind, right? But I feel like if you look at the output of art that is created now versus in the Renaissance, it's a lot less back then, right, than it is now. So yeah, it's a lot more now. So it obviously not everything will live and be remembered, but some certain pieces will, but time will tell. I think we can't decide that now. I think that's what will be decided by history.
Right. Well, we are blessed today to have been able to talk to what is the premier visual effects artist in the space. So thank you again so much for spending some time with our community today.
No, thank you for having me. It's been fun. Good chat.
We're definitely excited for the peek under the tent later on this afternoon when you show us what's going to be coming on Nifty. So
Yeah,
We'll be eagerly awaiting for that tweet.
definitely. I'll let you guys know for sure.
All right, John. Like I said, maybe down the road when you're nearing that collaboration release, we can have another chat and revisit some of this stuff.
For sure, I'd love to come back. Anytime.
All right. Thanks again, and you have a great day.
You too. Thank you, everyone for listening.